They say nice guys finish last. Most people think of dating when they hear that line. But in football, oh, it's just as true, maybe even more brutal. Because in this game, being ruthless often gets you everything, while being the good guy, that can cost you everything. And in the last transfer window, we saw it play out again. But this isn't new. Football has punished good boys time and time again. Tonight, let's walk through some of those stories. These are 7 times good guys were punished in football. Let's start with Marc Guéhi. Everyone knew it, he wanted Liverpool. He kept things professional, though. No drama, no tantrums. He captained Palace, even lifted the community shield against the very club he wanted to join. Deadline day was supposed to be his moment. Farewell video recorded, suitcase practically packed. But then, Palace slammed the door shut. Oliver Glasner reportedly threatened to quit if Guéhi was sold. No replacement, no deal. And just like that, Liverpool was gone. Imagine if Guéhi had played the villain, like Isak or Wissa, refusing to put on the shirt again. He probably would have been sold, but instead being the good guy cost him the move of his dreams. And he's not alone. Another England international suffered the same fate this summer. Any guesses who? Drop it in the comments, we'll circle back soon. But first, let's talk about Andriy Lunin. When Courtois went down injured in 2023-24, Lunin stepped up like a warrior. Against City in the Champions League quarter-finals, he made 8 saves and 2 penalty stops. Before that, he equaled Courtois' record with 9 saves in a knockout game. Madrid doesn't reach that final without him. And yet, the moment the final came, an almost fit Courtois walked straight back into the team. Lunin didn't kick up a fuss. He stayed loyal, signed a new deal that tied him down until 2030, and what did that loyalty get him? 7 La Liga appearances, 2 in the Champions League. That's it. He could have been a number 1 for a Champions League side. Instead, the good guy warmed the bench at Madrid. Now let's step away from goalkeepers for a moment. Marco Reus. Reus is the face of loyalty in football. At 23, he joined Dortmund. In his prime, the biggest clubs in the world came calling. He said no, he stayed. While Lewandowski, Gundogan, Götze, Aubameyang all left for glory, Reus chose yellow and black. His reward? A handful of domestic cups. And when Dortmund finally decided he was no longer useful, they didn't offer him a new deal. After more than a decade, he was pushed out in 2024. If Reus had been selfish, if he'd said, forget loyalty and moved in his prime, his story would have been very different. But instead, the good guy was punished. And here's where we circle back. The other England international. Kobbie Mainoo. At just 20, the kid wanted minutes. Not even a permanent exit. Just a loan move so he could play, build rhythm, maybe earn a spot at the 2026 World Cup. But Manchester United said no. And that decision could cost him his place at football's biggest stage. You know what's ironic? The same club has shown no hesitation in brutally cutting players loose when they want to. Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, Antony, all cast aside at one point. Had Mainoo taken the villain route and forced his way out, he might already be building his England case. But he chose loyalty, and loyalty held him. It's not just players. Coaches suffer too. Look at Xavi. In January 2024, he announced he'd step down at the end of the season, hoping someone else could lift Barcelona higher. A selfless decision. And what happened next? Barca improved, beat PSG in Paris, nearly reached the semis of the Champions League. Suddenly, Joan Laporta was begging him to stay. Out of love for the club, Xavi reversed his decision. And his reward? A month later, sacked. One comment Laporta didn't like, and that was it. If he'd stuck to his guns and walked away, his resume would have stayed clean. Instead, the good guy left with a stain. Speaking of Barca legends, remember Ronaldinho at Atletico Mineiro? During a game, he casually asked goalkeeper Rogerio Kenny for a sip of water. Cini, being kind, handed him the bottle. But Ronaldinho, he was no good guy on the pitch. Seconds later, he exploited the moment. From a throw-in, standing 20 yards offside, he received the ball, set up a goal. Perfectly legal. Perfectly ruthless. Had Ceni refused, people would have called him harsh. But kindness cost him. Sometimes the asshole wins. And finally, Gianluigi Donnarumma. He joined PSG in 2021. Gave them everything. Penalty saves. Fearless dives. Blood, sweat, silverware. He was between the posts when they finally won the Champions League. And yet, the moment a new goalkeeper arrived, he was discarded. Left out of the Super Cup squad, pushed out of the club. He even offered to take a pay cut just to stay. But PSG didn't blink. Loyalty meant nothing. And Donnarumma, the good soldier, was thrown away. So what do we learn from all this? Being a nice guy in football doesn't always get you far. Sometimes it even costs you everything. So yes, maybe nice guys do finish last, even in football. Who else comes to mind? Which other good guys got punished by the game? Tell us in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one. Because in football, just like in life, the villains often get the glory,